Well, of course, that void can never be filled. But right after the attack, the first message of the Prime Minister to the nation in his address was, "Mitti mein mila denge, and we will go to the ends of the world. We will not spare the terrorists, the backers, the perpetrators." And I think today the kind of reactions that are coming from the family members is evidence of the trust that the nation has, Colonel Agarwal.
Absolutely. I mean, you could, I saw that, speech by the Prime Minister when he made in Bihar. And there were two things which stood out. One was the sense of anger and outrage that he had, and the conviction that he has to take it to its final conclusion this time. And secondly, if you have noticed and if you recall, he made part of his speech in English.
Yes, yes. And he switched to English.
He switched to English and he addressed the world. And why? Because some nations are notorious in, translating and interpreting it wrongly. So he said there is no way that there can be any translating or interpretation or mistake. And his last sentence was, "till the end of the earth." So, that conviction, anger and outrage was very clear on day one. It took time for these things to evolve. And finally, the product or the demonstration which has happened last night vindicates the time and effort which was, taken in planning and execution.
Because you also have to be prepared for what's coming next. It's not just about, you striking and then you cannot not be ready for the challenges ahead, because there will be a response, which I believe we are already witnessing through the ceasefire, through how our civilians are being targeted at the LOC.
Absolutely. I mean, in any armed conflict and war, you cannot have a success rate of 100% and no damage to yourself. You have to be prepared. Enemies, you're not a fool. He is also professionally trained armed forces. They are professionally equipped. They will retaliate in whatever manner they have to. So, as in the armed forces, the nation also has to be prepared to accept damages and casualties when war breaks out.
Absolutely.
And on the line of control, it had been happening for last 12 days, but it has intensified to a great extent overnight. And I have seen some visuals of how the Pakistani bunkers have been blasted off across the LC. There are punitive strikes that are taking place through, direct firing missiles to the artillery, and Pakistanis are being battered. Yes, obviously, like I said, our civilians on the
are being impacted as well.
Right.
Sir, I just want to interrupt you, because as we speak, there are some breaking developments coming to fore, and we are constantly updating that information on the screen. After Operation Sindoor, these are the developments post that. First time after Operation Sindoor, this is what transpired. India reached out to countries like Russia and China, and the NSA, Ajit Doval, spoke to Russian and China counterparts. That's what we're given to understand. So this is before, in fact, this action also. I think we have Pradeep Datta, if I can go to him. Pradeep, before the precision strikes as well, foreign diplomats were being continuously briefed. And now after the precision strikes, after Operation Sindoor, we're given to understand that the NSA, Ajit Doval, spoke to Russia, China, and diplomatic advisor to French President Emmanuel Bon.
Yes, you rightly said that before this precision strike, India was in touch with the ambassadors of the different countries, and already an envoy were called. And the idea was basically India was trying to build the global opinion in its favor, and was trying to tell that why it is really important for India to defend itself and carry out attack, because they tried to show them the proof that they were having. Now, after the strike, once again, India has got in touch with all these people, trying to tell them, see, they did not target civilians, they did not target military, because they never wanted to climb on the escalation ladder. They only targeted terror infrastructure. And everybody knows, because those who are dealing with Pakistan, they know that this Muridke headquarter had been the Lashkar-e-Taiba's terror den. And from here, David Coleman Headley as well as Ajmal Kasab were trained. Those who had been knowing, those who have designated this person, Masood Azhar, as global terrorist, they know that Bawalpur had been one of their nerve center from where they used to operate. And this is from this place they planned several attacks, whether it was a parliament attack, whether it was Nagrota attack, whether it was Pathankot attack, whether it was the Pulwama bombing. So from here they used to plan with the help of Rawalpindi headquarters and inter-service intelligence. But now that has been raised to rubble. So the world has been conveyed by India. So why it was really important? Because they never wanted any kind of a collateral damage. That's one of the reasons they did not cross line of control or international borders. They simply tried to hit those terror den with precision, because that's their right. Because at the end of the day, as a country, they have to ensure that their safety and citizen safety is really very important, so that Pakistan is countries not able to spill their blood, and for their safety, they had to take certain measures, because if America can take, Israel can take, why India cannot take? How come you stop India? Already we have seen that the world's opinion had been in favor of India. Pakistan thought that this time, when India decided to freeze Indus Water Treaty, they thought that maybe the world will be crying horse, they will come out in favor of Pakistan. They said this, they will say that this is worst ever human rights violation. But nothing of that sort happened. Not a single country came out in favor of Pakistan, not a single country uttered a word, because they thought that maybe there will be hue and cry in the world. People will think that how come as an upper riparian you can stop water from moving down the stream to the lower riparian.
All weather allies have also not spoken, while the NSA has spoken to his Russian and Chinese counterpart. And one thing that has been made evident, Colonel Agarwal, by India is that the response was measured, like you said, non-escalatory, and India will continue to act and retaliate if Pakistan chooses to escalate the situation.
Absolutely. So 2 points are important. First is that India has struck only known, designated and identified terror infrastructure and camps. So no civilian, no military has been touched. So now how does Pakistan retaliate? We don't have any terror infrastructure or camps in our country. So what is that they are going to target? The second is India has maintained it very clearly that India retains the right to act against terror. And for that, whatever measures have to be taken, whatever means have to be taken, they're important. One more point, because we are talking about the diplomatic issues, you know, earlier what used to happen, especially before 26/11, Pakistan used to go running to the Arab countries and they used to, you know, extend solidarity and support to Pakistan. However, what has happened in last about 10-12 years, especially after Uri, Pathankot, you know, Pulwama, etc., they are not getting any support from the Arab world. The fact that among the 5 nations that India spoke about Operation Sindoor, 2 were Saudi Arabia and UAE.
Yes.
You know, speaks volumes about it, that how isolated Pakistan is. And I'll recall one more incident of 2019 when Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was supposed to come to India. Normally, they used to come via Pakistan or go back via Pakistan to Saudi Arabia. That time, India made it clear, you will come directly from Saudi Arabia to India and go back. And again, it was one of the indicators that, you know, Pakistan does not enjoy the unconditional solidarity as a Muslim nation from very powerful and influential Arab countries.
Absolutely. In fact, Pradeep, if Pakistan today is isolated, it is because of its own acts of supporting terror, of providing a safe haven to terrorists. And if India today is in a position where it has this support and messages of solidarity pouring in, is because we worked on those diplomatic relations.
Yes, you're absolutely right, because earlier there used to be a saying that all roads lead to Rome, but over the period of time that saying has already changed. All roads lead to Pakistan when it comes to terror-related activities, whether it's directly or indirectly, because reason being that wherever any kind of a terror-related incident takes place, you'll find that there is somewhere the Pakistani connection. And now world is also knowing about this thing, and Pakistan can no more come out with that false narrative where they will try to project themselves as a goodbye kind of image. That's not really going to work. We have already seen this thing happening during United Nations Security Council consultation, that how the country snubbed Pakistan. Hardly anybody was with Pakistan except for the China and Turkey. I don't think that anybody is right now supporting Pakistan. So there are 197 countries in the world. Out of 197 countries, only 2 countries are supporting Pakistan, and Turkey has its own interest because they want to sell arms and ammunition to Pakistan, and that too at not that they're selling it at a very cheaper rate. They're charging more to Pakistan. And out of 49 Muslim countries, you'll find only one of the Muslim countries that is supporting, or 1 or 2 countries like Turkey as well as Bangladesh. But no else is supporting Pakistan at this stage. Reason being that they know that this country is always moving with a begging bowl, because you always love to be with a country that is really telling a good story, and they have hardly anything good to tell, because either they have beggars to send to the Saudi Arabia, and or they are moving themselves with a begging bowl, asking for more penny. And this time we have seen that how they were begging for peace, calling their allies, knocking at different doors, trying to tell them to
Pradeep,
convince
that
India.
Reminds me of what their army chief said when he differentiated between Hindus and Muslims and said this is how different Hindus and Muslims are. This is the difference between India and Pakistan. But even those Muslim nations today are not standing with Pakistan.